Hello, my name is Gail Zhou. I'm a data and AI solution architect at Microsoft. In this video, I'll show you how to migrate SQL Server tables into Azure Synapse. I'll be using the PowerShell scripts from the published GitHub repository. And I'll show you how to get to this public GitHub repository and how to run the PowerShell scripts. From your browser, you can type GitHub Azure Synapse scripts and accelerators in one word. You get this link on the top. If you click this link, you get to the repository. You can download all of the code to your desktop. For this task, we need to get into the folder migration and SQL Server. These are all of the scripts that you can use to translate tables and migrate data from SQL Server to Azure Synapse. Today, I'm going to just show you one step, how to migrate tables. You can find this user guide online. You can read this user guide. It will tell you step by step how to migrate SQL Server data and tables and code into Azure Synapse. There are two options. Today we're going to cover that the step 1 in chapter 5, code migration. This is the user guide, chapter 5. If you open that document, you will see a diagram like this. Basically, there are two PowerShell modules you need to run. One is translate table DDLs. This PowerShell script will connect to SQL Server and query the SQL Server, the tables, produce the create table statement in Azure Synapse format. Each table will have the script generated in a separate file. So if you have 100 tables, you're going to have 100 files. After you have this code generated, you can run this module 5, run SQL files in folder. Basically, this PowerShell script will execute all of the script stored in one folder. In this case, these are Azure Synapse create table statement. After you execute the script, all of the tables will be created in Azure Synapse. Now, let me show you where are the code. So let's go get to here. Code will be in here, module 1 and module 5. Since I download this to my local directory, I'll show you my local directory structure. I put all of the code into my local folder. See, I have the modules here. Exactly the same as what you see online. Now let's see, I'm going to get here. So there's a one PowerShell script. It's only one here. Each module only has one PowerShell script. So you need to run this PowerShell script. This PowerShell script takes two configuration files. One is the file name .json, other one is XLSS. This is Excel file. Let me quickly open this file. Actually, let me open another file. Will give you better information. Suppose you have a SQL Server in Azure in the VM. This is possibly if your name a SQL Server name is this. This is what you configure server name. Integrate security. Normally for this situation is no, since you are running from a local. Of course, you can configure this integrate security. For now, just say no. When you say no, you're going to be asked for the SQL Server username and password in the login and execute the code. 3 parse names. These you should put this always yes, and this will produce code in the format of database name, .schema name, and .table name. If you say no, it will only produce code schema name and table name. And you tell PowerShell script where you're going to store this translated code. So for me, I have an output folder, and I say, hey, this is an output of module 1. This is where you put output, or the SQL file you generate stored here. So this is one configuration file you can prepare easily. Another configuration file is this Excel file. This has the columns here active. If it's 1, that means this line will be executed. If you put a 0, PowerShell will skip this line. Okay, so if you want to translate all of the tables, put the 1 here. This is your database name. This is your SQL Server database name. This is your SQL Server schema name. This one is your Azure Synapse Analytics database name. And also you can change the schema. You're using DBO here. You can use a new schema here. This is Azure Synapse schema. Object name for now is always table name. Object type is tables. And drop flag. If you say yes, I'll drop the old table which exists already and create a new table. And what is a table type? It can be a heap table or CCI table. And for the table distribution, there are 3 types: round robin, replicate, or hash. If it's a hashed table, you need to provide the keys. If it's a multiple keys, you can separate them with comma. By the way, this multi-key hash table, the feature has not been deployed yet, but you can use this tool to produce the code. When the Synapse delivers this capability, you can use this translator to generate the code. So you say, this looks like a lot of work. I've made this life easy for you. So I have some utilities in this folder. There is one utility called generate source to target config SQL, which already opened this file here. When you run this, it basically generates this information for me. But look, this one only is only CCI table and round robin. You can use this information as a starter and construct your real config file. And you do need to change a few things here. See, this will be your real name, your Azure Synapse SQL Pool database name, real name. Let's see here. For this one, hey, if you have a DBO, you can use DBO_ASA. Of course, if you don't like this, you can say, hey, I want this one be just want the EDW as my schema name. So now this schema name changed. So you need to just do a little bit of change to generate the right config file for you. If you have 1,000 tables, 100 tables, at least you have a starter file. Okay, now you have these two configuration files prepared. It's very easy to run this program. This is a PowerShell ISE, which comes with your PC. So everybody has it. It's a Windows PowerShell ISE I'm using. So now let's open this. So this is the module 1, translate tables. It's really easy to run. You hit this run button. It is looking for the directory where you store the config files. So for me, this is in that C migration modules, translate table DDLs. That's what I meant. If you set a directory structure like me, everything is configured for you. So you don't have to specify the location. Of course, you can tell where the file is, type it. But for me, I want to save time. So I just enter, because I have this. So this is looking for this file. I do have my own config file is named like this. Okay, so I'm going to just copy this file name. Of course, if you have the file name just like this, you just have the enter key here. It will work. So okay, so that is my table list. Now it's asking for translate underscore config. Say, do you have the config file name like this? For me, I'm going to use this. This is my local SQL server. So I'm going to say, please use this name. I can type it here. Translate config gilz.json. This one has my SQL server name, and I set integrate security yes, so won't ask me for username or password. So has all of the tables can translate. Now let's see, hey, this config file. That's what you say, where is the output? So we're going to go there to look the output. By the way, if you run this multiple times, the previous contents in this folder will be removed. So every time you run this program, if the same directory, the old directory will be removed. So you get fresh generated code. This is by design. So now I'm going to look at my output. Here's my code. These are the SQL table script translated. So the first table is a heap table. Round robin is the dim account. This is the fact table. It's a hash table, one key. I purposely create a table with a different name. It is actually exactly the table like this, but a different name. This is one is have multiple keys. The result is like this, hash, the 3 keys created right here. This code will not execute in Azure Synapse today. but we'll be able to execute in future. So this code looks good. I want to point out, look, there are 3 files with the prefix chk underscore. That means check this file. So let's check this file. What's going on with this file? This is the table dim employee. If you examine the columns, there is one column here, employee photo, is a var binary max. This data type is not supported in Azure Synapse. So this translation tool flagged this out. So you need to convert this manually to a compatible data type in Azure Synapse. So we have a few of those, 3 of them. It's actually the same data type. So now my code is translated. I need to create them in Azure Synapse. So I need to run the module 5, run these files in a folder, which you see is stored in a folder. Now let's go to here. This is my Azure Synapse. Right now I don't have any tables created. So you see I did create an EDW schema. So I need to run those files. For this module 5, you only need one configuration. Only one of them. You don't need all of them. This is just some samples. See what is in my config file. I have my server name. This is my workspace name. This should be the same for every workspace. You just need to change this. And this is my database name. Integrity security is null. And by the way, the code is here. See, this is what the output of module 1. That's where we store all of the code. So that's all you need to run the module 5. Now let's run this. So I'm going to close this, clear this. I'm going to go to module 5, run. So this is going to ask like the JSON file name. This is actually the file I need. So I'm going to copy this, input here. By the way, this is in your module, you should see SQL script.json. This is the code in my local. I did some modifications here. So I don't have to type the name again and again. Okay, so in your code, you don't have the GOZ. Okay, this is my version of the code. It's the same, similar, one line change. Okay, so now it's asking for my username and password for Azure Synapse. Oh, don't worry about these error messages. This is by design. As we know, we have 3 files which will not execute in Azure Synapse. Now you got this error. The first 3 lines that first 3 tables start with say check. How about this one? There's another error. That is one for the multi-key hash table. Okay, so all of these 4 should not even be created in Azure Synapse. All of the green ones we created. So now let's check if the tables are actually created. Here are my tables now. Let me do a refresh. Now you see all of the tables are created. dim account, customer. If you want to look at this, let's see the fact table, see if it is created correctly. So this looks good to me. So now you have complete the task of table migration. Now you're going to say, hey, that just translate tables. How about views and store procedures and other SQL object? For that, what you should do, let me actually open the one online documentation here. It is explained here. Here, we just saw I can use translate tables, generate tables, and create tables in Azure Synapse. And for the store procedures and views, more complex, even tables, you should use Azure Synapse Pathway. Azure Synapse Pathway has a lot more capabilities than this simple module I have here. So we recommend you use Azure Synapse Pathway to translate the code. And the code is translated, you save the translated code into files. You can still use this module to execute all of the code. So you can still use the modules here to execute the code. Today, Azure Synapse Pathway doesn't execute the code. It only translates. In this online documentation, we have Azure Synapse links here. So please check this out. Azure Synapse Pathway is going to be continuously enhanced. The new features will be delivered. So please check this documentation often to get the latest version. Now you can see how easy it is to move SQL Server tables to Azure Synapse. Just run to PowerShell script. Just enter a few keys. Just press enter key or provide a configuration file name. That's it. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be producing some videos for other modules. Stay tuned. Have a great day. Thank you.